Okay guys, hi, it's Sunday evening. I didn't really have any intentions of making a video. Uh, this video is not an iPad video, it's a video response to Dave Lack. Now if you don't know who Dave Lack is or anything like that, which I'm sure you do, I'll put a link up to his channel in any case. You really must go across, subscribe to Dave, watch his videos, because if there's anything you need to know about the tech industry, Dave's the man. Now, Dave made a video, or I watched a video tonight of Dave's, and I think it's his most recent one, which is Mac and PC Rants. Now, obviously, it's probably more beneficial if you go across and watch that video and then come across and watch mine, and you probably get the gist of where I'm coming from. Now, amongst other things, one of the things Dave talks about on that video is the iPhone and Android, and brings up some excellent points about features that the Android has over the iPhone, and how well Google are doing in terms of different projects that they have going on at the minute. One of the things I just think, and this is not the main part of why I wanted to make this video, but one of the things I think you missed out, Dave, is when you were comparing the features of them. I know Android has an app store as well, but it's nowhere near to the standard of the iTunes app store. And I think Apple have never kind of hid behind the fact that the app store and the third-party apps are also a massive contributing factor into the iPhone being as successful as it is. I think if you take away the app store, if Apple took away the app store, never introduced the app store, the iPhone would certainly, I personally think that the iPhone probably wouldn't have been as successful as it has been. Don't get me wrong, I love the iPhone. I think it's probably the best phone out there from what I've seen, but I think the App Store is a massive contributing factor, so I think that should be taken into consideration. Now, the main thing that I wanted to talk about was one of the points that Dave mentions is about the iTunes Store being in the cloud. He also expands on that a little bit by giving an example of something that happened to him, as to why he thinks it should be opened up a bit more to that. And I just have a couple of points that, in my opinion, I don't feel that would necessarily work. And this is the reason why. First of all, my iTunes library, I would say, is pretty pathetic in comparison to a lot of people. Now, my iTunes library is now currently run at 42 gigabyte, and that's just music, TV, and movies. There's no podcast or anything like that. Now, if I were to move all that to the cloud, which we all know is just a server somewhere else, don't forget that space is going to grow all the time. Every time I buy a song or a movie or TV program, at some point I'm gonna have to get more space. Now, that space in the cloud is not going to be free. Apple or any other company for that matter, they're not going to provide server space free. So now you're into the realm of you're buying your music and your movies and your TV shows, but on top of that, you're buying your space as well. And I don't think people are going to buy into that, because now all of a sudden, you've got loads of money coming out of your wages for lots of different things, like your mobile phone usage of just ordinary phone calls, your data rate plans, and now you're talking about space in the cloud, and plus obviously then the cost of there's too much money going out and stuff like that, I would feel. And obviously they would have to set a price on that. So I think people would complain about, and it just wouldn't go. Now, the example that Dave used is that Dave done a system restore on his computer the other day, but prior to doing that, he had bought a tune on iTunes. And Dave was saying that when he got the computer back up and running, he no longer had access to that tune, and I totally agree with what Dave was saying. That's a pain in the ass. At the end of the day, he paid the money for that tune, and so therefore, just because he does a system restore, he still should have access to that. Now, what I'm going to say now leads into a different debate, which I'm not going to talk about here, but it's something I've spoke about before, and that is, backing up your data. We're told on a regular basis you back up what you feel is important to you. Now, every time I buy a tune on iTunes or download a movie or anything like that, as soon as it's downloaded, I'll move the file to an external hard drive. Now, what happens if that external hard drive goes down? Then you've lost all your files. I appreciate that, and then you've got to then go into, well, how many times do you back it up? How many external hard drives are you going to have sat on your desk for backing up the exact same thing? But unfortunately, that's the same as anything in life. Nothing is 100% safe. My car's parked outside the front of my house. That could go any minute, but it's all locked up, and I've done everything I can to ensure it's locked up. But I'm digressing way off here. So in that sense, what Dave was saying was that it should have been just a simple case of going to a central location in the cloud and retrieving that song back that he had. But then again, that's going back to buying space. Now, if you take Mobile Me, for instance, Mobile Me's £59 a year, and you are automatically given 20 gigabyte space. Now, you can upgrade it, but again, you've got to pay, and I'm not too sure what the rates are at the minute, but I think it was something like £5, £5 or £10 per 10 gigabyte or something. I'm not too sure. It's not really important, but you get the gist of it. You've got to pay for your extra space, and I think this is where a lot of people would not buy into it. Another thing as well that I think people would have a problem with, and that's the ownership rights of the file. Now, I know, yes, it's very easy to turn around and say, well, you bought the file, you bought the music file, so it's yours. But when that becomes in the cloud, so to speak, and it's alright, we know it's on a server, but it's called cloud computing. So when that's in the cloud, who has the rights to it? Because at the end of the day, it's still sat in somebody else's server, and that's where the waters would be incredibly muddied, because the law, in any case, I've studied the law now for nearly 4 years, and it's an incredibly complex thing. Never mind bringing in and that's just ordinary boundary laws and family laws and stuff like that, things that are physical that you can touch. You start bringing things like cloud computing into it, and people's rights as to whether they own the file or not, or whether if Apple's systems went down, or whoever was hosting the service, if their systems went down and all your data was lost, would the onus be on them then to replace all your tunes? Or there's lots of things that would come into play with it. So I think that's just my opinion on a couple of things Dave touched on. So like I say, go across, watch Dave's video, and then come back, and you'll probably understand a little bit more where I'm coming from this. I think Dave makes some tremendous points about this next new iPhone that is going to be announced at WWDC. I'm not going to go into those because I think you should go across and watch Dave's video. And Dave, I hope you don't mind me making this video, mate. I'm not having a go at you or anything like that. The just things that I was thinking about as you were saying them. And whilst I do a lot of cloud computing myself, I use my 20 gig in my Mobile Me quite a lot. I use Dropbox, and I pay a service there. It's $9.99 for, I think it's 20 gigabyte as well, something like that. So I do agree with you that cloud computing can be good, but I don't think that it would be good when it comes down to things like 60 or 70 gigabytes worth of iTunes library in the cloud somewhere. I think a lot of you're talking about a lot of money then, and it would be an ongoing thing. So that's just my opinion. All the best, guys, and I will do a video about the iPad that I bought, which is here, which is what I've just written my notes down on. So that'll be coming next. Alright, guys, all the best, and have a good bank holiday weekend if it's a bank bank holiday weekend where you are. Alright guys, so speak to you all later. Bye.